Welcome to Keto Meals and Recipes.com. I thought that today would be a really good day to have some fun and make something tasty, and take up a new skill and work on our barista skills. Therefore, in today's video, I'll be featuring my Keto Dalgona coffee, which is sugar-free because I'm using a monk fruit-based sweetener. I'm sure that many of you have already seen this Dalgona coffee on TikTok or Instagram because it's one of the hottest trending recipes. And because my husband and I have been enjoying it for the last couple weeks, I thought that I would show you how easy it is to make this South Korean coffee. And I think this coffee, and my absolutely unbiased opinion of course, is as tasty as a Starbucks iced coffee or a Tim Hortons iced frappuccino. So please watch the entire video right to the end for tips and other suggestions to this do-it-yourself barista-inspired recipe. Now, the macronutrient ratio for this Keto Dalgona coffee, sugar-free version, is 3.4 to 1 with 0.9 grams of total carbs, which all 0.9 grams is fiber, resulting in 0 net carbs for a very large mug serving. Here on this table are the 4 ingredients that you'll need. By the way, if you have a hand blender with a whisk attachment, that will make this a super easy and quick recipe. But if you don't have an electric blender like this one, you can still make this recipe by just using some muscle power and a hand whisk and a dollop of patience. I've made this recipe quite a number of times, and I found that the easiest way to whip up the coffee mousse is to use a 2-cup size measuring cup or a very small bowl. To your small bowl or measuring cup, first pour in the instant crystallized coffee, which is the freeze-dried version and not a powdered instant coffee. There's a bit of a difference, and you'll find that the crystallized coffee will work much better. Then into my measuring cup, I poured in the confectioner's sweetener. To make a confectioner's sweetener, I just grind my regular sweetener to a very fine powder. And lastly, I poured in my warm water, not hot or boiling water. Now take your electric hand mixer with the whisk attachment and whisk for about 2 to 3 minutes. The longer that you whip, the stiffer your coffee cream will be. You'll also notice that the whipping process turns the dark brown liquid into a much paler color. And as you continue to whip, the mixture begins to resemble the texture of whipped cream. So continue to whip until you notice that the mixture is a light golden brown and is between a light medium or medium peak stage. However, I do know that some people prefer a very stiff foam. And if that's what you prefer, just continue whipping until your coffee cream has reached the stiff peak stage. How smooth or stiff you make your whipped coffee cream is personal preference. And after all, you are the barista making this delicious treat. When you have finished whipping the coffee cream to your preferred consistency, just set the bowl aside for a moment. Get your glass mug, tall glass, or mason jar. And at this point, you have an option to add a bit of ice to make this into an iced Dalgona coffee. Or leave the ice out and just pour the milk into your chosen glass mug, tall glass, or mason jar. Now pour in your chosen milk. I'm using almond milk, but you could also use regular milk or another nut or soy milk. And to put everything together, get the whipped coffee cream. Spoon the fluffy foam mixture on top of the milk. The separation of these 2 layers looks really great and takes a great thumbnail, and I noticed that many thumbnails and photos look like that. But for best flavor, I have found that you really actually should stir the 2 layers together and leaving just a little bit of foam on top. Otherwise, if you don't mix these 2 together, you'll notice that for most of the coffee, what you will taste is just the milk. And then when you reach the coffee foam, you'll find that it tastes very strong and kind of bitter, especially compared to the milk. And then you might wonder, what was all the fuss about with this coffee anyway? And after mixing, do leave some of the foam on top so that it will look nice. And you can mix this foam into the milk coffee as you're drinking it. And by doing it this way, it creates a gradient of flavor. The first sip has a very mild, light milk coffee flavor. But as you sip and stir occasionally to integrate the foam, the coffee develops a stronger coffee taste. And just before you finish and have a little bit of milk coffee left, stir the last of the foam into the milk coffee, which will finish your Keto Dalgona coffee with a stronger burst of flavor like a Starbucks iced coffee. Now here are a few other drink recipes found at cafes and bistros around the world, and you can try your barista skills at. The first one is my Irish coffee. In this recipe I use a good quality whiskey, but you could also leave the whiskey out and instead flavor the coffee with a rum extract or some other extract of your choice. That's if you don't want alcohol in your coffee. This is not a difficult coffee to make, obviously, but it's more about technique. If you watch my video, you'll note that recently I posted my Parisian hot chocolate, also called French hot chocolate. This is a Parisian Bistro favorite, and it's a really nice, thick, almost dessert hot chocolate. The next recipe is not a coffee at all. However, it is a really amazing, refreshing Vietnamese avocado smoothie. And if you're wondering, this is just another avocado smoothie, not quite. The way that it's made and the ingredients give this a light, refreshing taste that I'm told is enjoyed in Vietnam. Next, I present my last suggestion, and I also have a question for you. The last barista-styled recipe that I would like to suggest is my Vietnamese egg coffee, which I make two different ways. The first way is the original with the raw eggs, and the second method is using tempered eggs. Currently, this recipe is only found in my Keto Dessert Cookbook, which, by the way, you can get for free as my gift to you. All you have to do is sign up. And my question is, would you like me to make a video for this written recipe and post it? And over the next short while, as we're all trying to stay healthy and safe in our homes, and it's best not to keep running out for groceries, I will be posting several easy, flavorful, and nutrient-dense recipes made with mostly shelf and pantry-stable ingredients, along with as few perishable ingredients as possible. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have, please consider supporting my channel by subscribing, giving it a thumbs up, leave me a comment or question, or share a story of what you're doing during this period, and please forward a link to my channel to someone that you think might enjoy my videos as well. The link for the printable Keto Dalgona coffee and all the other videos I mentioned, as well as some products and ingredients, will be posted in the description below. Everyone, please take care, stay safe and healthy. Until next time, have a good day.